Good evening. I call this special called meeting on October 6th to order. Unless there's an objection, seeing no objections, meetings called in order. Councilman Seconder, will you lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance, please?
Please rise for those who are able. At this meeting, help us to make decisions which keep us faithful to our mission and reflect our values. Give us strength to hold to our purpose, wisdom to guide us, and a keen perception to lead us. And above all, keep us charitable as we deliberate. Please join me in the pledge. Allegiance.
Unless Richard would like to.
Okay. Before you start, just to, we're not voting on anything tonight, just to make that clear. It's just discussion. And our goal is to give staff guidance and maybe build some consensus. But Catherine was going to be on. I want to make, does IT know if Councilman Lautenbacher is on? She may or may not be here via Zoom. She is on Zoom. Is she a participant or just watching? Okay, so they need to elevate her to participant. A panelist, whatever. Yes, you're right. Okay. All right, Catherine, you are now a panelist. Can you hear us? Catherine?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to say that that was our goal, that we're not voting on anything, that we're just going to review what, so last week I presented. Okay. That's okay. Are we ready? Yeah. Last week I presented sort of my idea of what each department could spend above and beyond, since we have $30 million in reserve. And so I just gave them amounts. I think they've made some recommendations. We can talk about them. We can agree, disagree, whatever. And then also we'll talk about the CIP. All right, thank you.
Evening, Mayor and Council. We will briefly, about a 10 to 15-minute presentation, which, as the mayor said, will take some of the last meeting we had and elaborate some more on the details. And both the Police Department, Public Works, and Parks will talk a little bit more about what we're going to refer to as the allotment part. Just so you know, give everybody a background, the budget was released on August 27th. The first budget workshop was held September 29th, and this CIP focused meeting grew out of that. The run of show for tonight, to keep it very brief, we're going to essentially review the $7 million allotment. And as the mayor said, the details out of that, because one of the things was, here is the broad scope of it. And all three departments have worked this past week on looking at proposals for the details on it. After that, we can get into the CIP, and just so that for point of clarification, there's four major ones: hotel, motel, general capital, SPLOST 1 and SPLOST 2 funds. All four of those are capital CIP related entities, and then discussions through that. This is one of the charts to simplify the discussion of what the $7 million allotment would do. At the last meeting, we were having to do some math by hand, and so we just figured we'd put it up there. The current budget, as it's proposed, has a 9.6 months of fund balance at the end of 2026. When the $7 million is removed from that equation, if it is through allotment, the remaining amount will be 7.36 months of fund balance, which is different from the 9.6. So we just wanted to have that out there for total clarification on what this would do. It would still keep the amount of reserves above 6 months, about 4 million above, but it would be significantly above the 6-month reserve. Now with that, the first one, and he does not know I'm going to call on him yet because I didn't warn him he would be first, but the chief will be up here to discuss the three things that he would work with on the $500,000 for the capital contribution from the $7 million allotment.
And
Surprising.
we're gonna ask questions of the speakers as they come up, if you have questions, but you also can obviously circle back later and ask questions.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the three items that we were looking at is obviously our drone first responder, which will be 200K. The electric vehicles were 117,000. This was from a Department of Energy grant that they rescinded or canceled. And then the remaining, we would just use 4 vehicles for our fleet. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
John,
Chief, tell us about the drones. So basically your recommendation is to go forward with the 200,000, which would give us 2 drones. One that we've already approved and the second drone for the east side of Dunwoody. Is that correct? Can you give us your opinion on what's
Absolutely,
going
sir.
forward?
So we have initiated our drone first responder program. So this year we paid the Flock company paid for the first half of the year, and then we paid for the last half of the year. We did meet with PCID, and they have agreed to a 2-year contract to add an additional drone on the east side of the city. So technically the one here is going to serve the perimeter side, and the other drone is going to serve the east side of the city. So we'll have full coverage. The amount of hours that we've had and the successes that I'm preparing to present to all of you have been very positive, from capturing suspects to clearing calls, go out on 285 that were not in our jurisdiction. As of this week, so right now we have what we call line of sight drone operations, which means we have to have somebody on the roof right now. Well, if you saw over by the Sproul Center, there's a large crane over there. This week, they're actually installing our radar. So we're going to triple the amount of time that this drone is going to be able to respond. Because now the officers can do it from their car. They can literally hit launch drone on their laptop. So if we're out on a critical incident or we have a missing person, the capabilities of this drone, especially with the cold weather coming up, it has FLIR, it'll pick up heat signatures, suspects. The amount of the technology that's embedded inside this drone is just phenomenal, and it is an extra set of eyes for us as we respond to these calls. So it's been very beneficial. PCID has been a fantastic partner, supplementing the extra drones, so we can have full coverage on the city. So now we can cover the whole PIB area, and of course our main area here, Zone 3, our 30B, which is our PCID.
Chief, tell us about the electric vehicles. Is that a lease? Is that, do we own those? I know there was infrastructure that we put in, the 117, they backed out of a grant, but how does that affect long-term, next year's budget, year after that budget? What's going forward on this?
This just supplemented just 2 of our fleet vehicles. I'm driving one of them. The community outreach officer is driving the other one. So it did not affect us. It did not affect our, I mean, obviously we had to take money out of SPLOST for this, or waiting for approval to, I'm sorry, out of the 7 million. This is going to come out of that. It did not affect our fleet in any way. We did purchase them. They were not leased.
Okay.
And then of course we've added our equipment, lights, so we can respond to emergency calls. So just unfortunate. I don't think it's completely taken away from us, Jay. Yeah, we don't, not 100% sure, but
All right,
why-
but
that's
long
why-
story short, it's, we own the vehicles. They're not gonna pull the vehicles back in a year or a half, or so so we own it. We've invested in it. We're
Yes,
moving
sir.
forward. As far as the next one, the vehicles itself, is that, just ordinary replacement of everyday vehicles? There's no SWAT vehicle. There's nothing out of the ordinary. It's just everyday vehicles being replaced on a normal schedule?
That's correct, sir. So whether it be administrative or our patrol vehicles.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just to follow up on the EV vehicle, I'm gonna be hopeful and think that, hey, maybe this reversal will be reversed and we'll get this money back. And that's, I would be curious if you could come up with just a backup, assuming we miraculously get this money back from this grant, something else the department needs. So just, you don't need to come up with one right now,
Yes,
but,
sir.
I guess come up with a wish list
I will.
of equipment.
I'll have a plan B to the plan B. Yes, sir.
And Chief, so the CID is going to contribute for one of these, right? So,
That's correct.
so I want to just get this clear. So how much does it cost? So this is an annualized amount. It's an operating cost.
That's correct, sir.
So it's 100,000 per unit?
No,
No.
just
200 per unit.
200 per unit. Actually, let me clarify on that just a little bit. So the drone that the PCID is going to be paying for the next 2 years, it's actually two drones that are on the same platform. So one will launch for 26 minutes. It comes back down. The second one will launch. While this one's launched, it takes 25 minutes for this one so it goes back and forth. The one that's on our roof now, the batteries change automatically. So if the battery's dead, it'll come back, land. It's mechanical, so they change the battery and then we can deploy it again. But having those on there, if we're on such a critical incident, we'll be able to meet in the middle. So I mean, we can, but yes, PCID is supplementing. It's technically two drones, but it's just while one's up, one's charging.
So really then, unlike one-time cost, and it's not really one-time cost of vehicle replacement, which we have ongoing in our CIP. This first item would fall under operating expense in subsequent budget years.
Yes, sir.
So that's another 200,000 that we need to consider for beyond 2026
Yep.
on an
Yes, sir.
ongoing basis. Okay. Thank you.
Catherine, anything?
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Chief, if we were to increase this amount of the capital, what other items would you wish to go on this list?
So in response to the last shooting in DeKalb County, there are ballistic windshields that can be installed into the front part of the vehicle. Just the front windshields. They actually have front windshields, they have side windshields. We went and got a price quote. I don't have that number right offhand, but that would probably be my first choice. That they're not cheap, but it would be for the protection of our officers in the vehicle because of the unfortunate tragedy of what happened to Officer Rose. So I would probably start there, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you'll bring us back that number when
I
you
sure
have
will.
it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, anybody else have questions? All right, thank you.
The next we'll go up with is Michael Smith to talk about the pedestrian safety allotment.
Okay, I'll just run through the list. The Vanderlyn Hensley crosswalk bulb outs. I think we talked about that last meeting, just shortening that crossing and making the
And will you, just for anybody listening, will you define bulbs out? Because it's not what it sounds like.
it just moving you have parallel parking on that street,
Mhm.
you have some extra pavement. And just moving the curb out, building an island out past the edge of the parallel parking so that it shortens the crosswalk. That shortens the distance the pedestrian has to cross on Vanderlyn Drive where the parallel parking is. Then the next one was also discussed at the last meeting. We're all these are rough cost estimates. We don't really have any design or anything yet, but we bumped that one up a little bit. Not exactly sure what the best solution at that intersection near Village Burger would be, but it would most likely be like a raised intersection or a mini roundabout that would fit within the existing roadway. And that womack also, be a better situation for pedestrians crossing back and forth between the shopping centers. Womack at Vermac bulb out. There's one corner, the corner at the high school also has some extra pavement, and this would be to bump that curb out to shorten that crossing.
Yeah, so Mike, it's 50,000 for the Hensley, 25 for this one. Hensley only has, it's a three-way stop. This is a four-way, so I wanted to make sure I understand. I was looking pretty close at that intersection at Vermac. The big power pole, it didn't look like there was space on all four.
Right,
So so it's just the one. You're just on
That's
the one
right.
on the high school only.
that's right.
And will it bulb out in both directions?
No, it would just bulb out on the Vermac side, because you have the parallel parking further up, but then there's kind of a taper area of
Right.
extra pavement outside the lane that is where we would put this on that one corner. So that's why this one's less. There's actually 2 locations, I think, on the Vanderlyn Hensley.
And does that affect the bike lane then? If it's not in the regular roadway, does it affect the bike lane that might be striped there?
We would stop it short of the bike lane.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, right.
Tilly Mill at Dunwoody Glen, there's a crosswalk there that, right now it kind of crosses a part of a decel lane. We could probably move that crosswalk a little bit to make it a shorter crossing and have it just cross where the road is 2 lanes wide instead of this extra pavement area, and then possibly add some of the flashing beacons there. And then the last thing here, for the final 100,000, the regulations are changing on the push buttons at signalized intersections. We have a few locations where by request, we've made them audible for people that are visually impaired, but the regulations are changing to where they're all going to be required to be, like anywhere you have a push button at an intersection, it's going to have to be audible. So we just, it's not something we have to do right away. We can phase it in, but we have 64 intersections. And so we thought that going ahead and trying to do 10, maybe in some busier areas, would be a good use of this money.
Okay. Anybody have questions or comments on this? Go ahead, Joe.
I appreciate your, you're sifting through and prioritizing, given, you're right. And that's the process. And I appreciate following that process. Just to confirm, what you're doing here, it does say safety, and it's going to be all users, really. You're making traffic calming, safe streets. So it's really, and it's augmenting the safety action plan, the roadway safety action plan. That's all of the above, right? On this,
Right.
just to confirm.
Right.
Yeah. So it'll be safe for everybody, but yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks.
And then the Tilly Mill at Dunwoody Glen crosswalk. That's a corner. No,
It's just north of Womack.
it's just north of Womack.
Mhm.
By the synagogue.
It's by the
Yeah.
synagogue. No, I know where it is. I know where it is. Is there sidewalk on that side of Tilly Mill to Womack?
Yes,
Yeah,
there's
okay.
sidewalk on
But-
both sides.
Excuse me, sorry. There's sidewalk on that, and you can make it a safe crosswalk, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, it's, there's one there now. This would be to improve the
Sure.
safety of
Okay.
it. Make a shorter length crossing.
Okay,
And add flashing lights.
okay, thank you.
And to follow up, there's landing places on both sides.
We'd have to cut in new ramps, but there are sidewalks to tie to on both sides.
Okay.
I have a question for
Okay.
Michael.
Uh-huh.
What is next on the pedestrian safety top 10 list? What would be next if we had more money?
Well, I mean, if you consider sidewalks, pedestrian safety, there's definitely more sidewalks to do. There's not, more audible pedestrian push buttons. There's not there's more safety projects. I don't know that there's many more just specific pedestrian safety projects. We're in the process of upgrading most of our crosswalks. Either we have recently or we're waiting on some equipment or funding from the state. So we've done a lot, and that's kind of why we moved to the audible pedestrian buttons, is that we didn't have a lot of other projects ready to go that would fit this category.
Okay, on the small side of building a sidewalk, what would be the general price for the smallest sidewalk section that you would build?
That may be more on the next slide. I can show that if when
Okay.
we move to that.
That's fine.
Okay. All right, any more on pedestrian safety? And there are other projects that we've already funded, like North Peachtree and different places, right?
Right,
Yeah.
the sidewalk on North Peachtree
And the crossing on Vermac at, Joe, what did you ask about today? What was that street name?
Parliament. I'm gonna
Parliament
talk
leads.
about that on
Okay.
the next one too.
Okay, sorry. Okay. All right, anybody else have questions on this?
I'll want to circle back and ask about North Peachtree. If you can remind me what we're doing on North Peachtree, because I see that as a need. I just want to be reminded of what we're doing there financially.
Mhm.
There's a 500,000 budgeted in the ARPA safety funds to replace that sidewalk with a bigger buffer and a wider sidewalk.
All right, what's the distance? Do you remember?
I don't know the distance, but it's from, the Dunwoody crossing
Right.
to Chestnut to
Chestnut.
the crosswalk in front of Chestnut.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. it seems like it's not much money, but it seems like could be a bigger project depending on how many retaining walls you're going into. and
Right,
things of
right.
that nature.
That's a estimate that needs to be vetted with the design. Yeah.
All right, well, it's moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, you can go to, is that it for everybody? Okay, you can go to the next slide.
Okay. So to the question about smaller sidewalk projects with the $1 million that the council discussed last meeting, we picked out two of the smaller projects for sidewalks that are on our list. There's a short gap at the north end of Shamley Dunwoody near Spalding. We're estimating at 450,000. And then the gap on Peeler between Huntington Hall and Equestrian Way on the south side of Peeler at 500,000. There's maybe one or two other even smaller projects on our sidewalk list, but they would be like the one we talked about last time on Hollybank Circle, where it would be a really short section filling in a gap in a neighborhood. For the main roads, these are probably the smallest two that are still out there to be done. So we put those on the list, and then based on the discussion last time with possibly doing that segment on Vermac because the segment on Vermac from Womack down to the swim tennis is a bigger project involving a lot of stormwater improvements and different things. So the council talked about maybe just doing the part from Womack to Parliament. We have an existing project with some budget left in it for Vermac sidewalk, about 200,000. So we added 50,000 here to supplement that if the council wants to, we could look at going ahead and doing that section of sidewalk, which would include the crossing, and possibly wrap that in and do it at the same time as the Womack sidewalk that's currently being designed that was funded this year.
Okay, questions on sidewalks? Stacy, go ahead.
Of course, there's a Parliament Drive and there's a Parliament Way. So would the sidewalk that you're looking at to Womack be?
Parliament Drive, I think the one
That's
that
the
lines
Parliament
up
Drive is the
with-
northern one.
Right, that one.
Okay, just
The
making
shortest-
sure
the
because
shortest,
of course there's a drive and a way.
Of course.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Questions?
Yes.
Catherine, sorry.
I have a question about Homecoming Park. If we're going to talk about that next and build up that park, do you have plans for the sidewalk or crossing lights around the park area?
We do. That's the bigger project that goes from Womack to the swim tennis to put a new sidewalk on the west side of Vermac. And that would also include another crossing near the park. And I don't know if I have that number in front of me, but that's estimated at a $3 or $4 million project, I think, total.
Oh.
There'd be stormwater improvements involved, and so that's still in the CIP. It's just not fully funded for construction.
Okay. Anybody? Catherine, we kind of lost her maybe. Is that it, Catherine?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. All right. So these projects are pretty straightforward, you think? Like, not going to be a lot of stormwater involvement or? Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
but, I
know.
mean, there's, like on Peeler, we will have to add some curb.
Mhm.
We may have to do a little bit of stormwater. We've got to cross the creek. So, but it's not, it's not as big as some of our other ones, I guess.
Okay, so these are things we could start and potentially see completed in a reasonable amount of
Yes,
time.
yeah,
These aren't
Should-
projects that are going to tear up streets for years.
right.
Okay.
And both of the top two on here, neither one of them should require, any right of
Okay.
way.
Great. All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, Michael, just an observation. I ran through the CIP of what we've got forecasted, things that actually say sidewalk. 4.7 mil. That's forecasted for sidewalk exclusive projects in the city in our CIP. Well, a couple of side notes administratively, we don't have it's 565K on North Peachtree across from Chestnut. So that's not in the CIP, but if you add that, that comes to 5.2 million that we have right now today, even before having this conversation. So what we're doing today is adding another 20% more to what we've already funded for sidewalks to increase that. And then we also need to kind of take into consideration, there's other existing roadway projects that by default incorporate sidewalks as well. So for instance, the Tilly Mill, Mount Vernon project, that's going to be another new, half-mile segment and so on. So if you really start laying it on, we've got a pretty well good build out, and I appreciate the work and what we're doing. Thank you.
Okay. Next.
Yes, good evening. Just one for me, just a little bit more detail around Homecoming Park. The Wildflower Meadow, pretty self-explanatory. This would be the front of the park along Vermac. The open play field, which is in the same spot it is now. About a half-mile nature trail that kind of meanders within the park boundaries. The master plan also calls for a restroom pavilion with solar panels. State-of-the-art 12,000 square foot inclusive playground. And the reason we're calling this state-of-the-art, because of the size of this park, this playground is really going to be the crown jewel, if you will. To put it in perspective, Brook Run's about just a little over 15,000 square feet, so this will be our second largest. And the impact for this, we're really focusing on inclusive. So typically what you see with a traditional playground is almost a checklist of accessible amenities for kids. Inclusive means it would be for families that have children maybe with and without disabilities, for the children to play together. It's not a separate area. So really honing in on that inclusive nature of this park, which we're calling it state of the art. There's a lot of great opportunity there. Sand volleyball courts calls for 2. Sensory garden, which is next to where the White House currently is. It would be similar to what you see if you've been to the children's area at the Botanical Gardens. It's a lot of touching and hearing and smelling herbs, things like that. That's the sensory garden. And then last would be a community space building with solar panels again. Happy to go into more detail or answer any questions.
Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Rachel. A couple
Sure.
questions. Let's look at the open play field. I'm looking at what's on the master plan versus what's in this memo. Can you differentiate the difference between them? The master plan says 245, 145 versus the 160, 160.
Is the one you have the sand volleyball courts in it with like a little cutout? It
Okay,
should.
I got it right off the
Okay.
web.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if the city website has the sand volleyball included.
The Homecoming Park web should, but we can double check that.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the community building space, I don't see
Mhm.
that in the master plan as well. I'm seeing gazebos, but I don't see a community space with solar panels.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's the existing building. That's the existing building we're leaving, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
so
The
how
White
much-
House. Yep.
So how much are we investing into that building? Or we're planning on keeping that forever? Remind me of all this.
Yeah,
please.
so the plan currently is to retrofit that. The way it is now, it's not ADA accessible. It's just kind of an open house with a bathroom and 2 rooms. So that would have to be retrofit for a community space. It's the White House on the property.
No, right, I'm just trying to see the master plan to see what's staying and what's going. And I'm looking quickly, I'm not seeing it, am I seeing
Number
it?
15 on the master plan.
15, thank you, looking.
And it's where the bathrooms are gonna be, right?
The bathrooms be on the playground
On the
side,
playground side,
where the
okay.
red house is now, which comes out.
So Rachel, should this go forward, you just update the graphics
Yeah.
for the update and show what's, thanks.
All right, and then one final question, as far as the open play field, is that natural grass?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'm just trying to make sure that what's in the memo is what we've
Yeah.
approved previously, so thank you.
Rob,
All right, so just some more questions on this. First, the layout, I think I mentioned this last time, with leaving the leach field in place. Where the leach field is for the septic system isn't going to interfere with anything we have planned here.
So
that
we have a
accurate?
meeting with a level 3 soil testing group tomorrow, first thing in the morning to look at all that,
Okay.
to look at current conditions, what we can and can't use septic versus sewer, and then if that changes.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yep.
like the idea of the saving. I don't know if we had something planned to be built on that leach field.
Yeah.
So just a reminder on that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, that natural play field is a swamp
Mhm.
during heavy rains. And there have been various iterations for that field to maybe put some sort of stormwater control underneath it. Can you refresh me on how we're gonna handle stormwater on the site?
Yeah, so all of that will be included in the site work,
Okay.
level, the grading work and everything to prevent that water you're seeing now, that
And
standing water.
I would prefer that we over-engineer that just because, I've talked to the neighbors behind that and
Mhm.
a lot of water comes through
Yeah.
there. So if we can do something to kind of help them out, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
The other question I have is just, with the little tweaks we've had and changes in cost, how good do we feel about this estimate to do this build out? Does 5 million fall into, yes, this looks like this is 5 million worth of work, or I guess when will we know what the price might be, or, what we might actually be able to be?
Sure.
And if it comes in higher, have we thought about how we want to prioritize what we include on this site?
Yeah, I think part of that, in speaking with our Eric Johnson with CPS, he feels comfortable with the 5 million. Of course, we won't know until we bid the project out, but he feels that's a good starting point that he could deliver the project for. The bigger question is, what do y'all want to do if it exceeds that number? That's the question you have to look at. But part of that is a philosophical conversation until we actually have the numbers back in.
That's why I think it might be nice to have kind of a priority of, if we decide we have to leave something off, leave it off strategically, so we're not trying to run heavy equipment through a completed park to put something in the back, if that makes sense. But hopefully it'll come in just fine.
go ahead, Stacey.
So we actually passed this master plan on March 27th, 2023. So 2.5 years later, we're finally looking to get it done. At that point, the estimate was 4.6 million. I strongly support building this park out according to the master plan that we passed 2.5 years ago. If it's 5 million, if it's 5.5 million, if it's 5.8 million, we need to build this park out according to what we passed 2.5 years ago, with the exception of the pickleball becoming sand volleyball courts. So fine, 5 million now, but if it goes over, why would we need to build it out?
I think it just depends on what the number is, and that's the discussion we have at that point.
Anybody else? I have a question about the sand volleyball courts.
Yeah.
Because they kind of just appeared and we didn't do a lot of vetting. Do you know of other public parks with sand volleyball courts?
Yes.
And how do they keep animals out of the courts?
The ones I've spoken to haven't had that issue. Some have fencing, some don't, just depends on the area you're in. But when I spoke to everybody earlier this year, they have not had a problem with it.
Okay, so there's tons of deer that already live
Mhm.
on that property, as I'm sure you're aware because
Yeah.
you spend time on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if deer are attracted to sand or not. We certainly know cats are attracted to sand. Fencing is not built into this, right? Or it is? You haven't,
It's not, I mean, it's minimal cost. We've quoted it out. It would not
Okay.
add much. no. if we
But
wanted to
could
go
we
that
do
way.
attractive fencing?
Mhm.
And Mayor, one thing to think about too,
Right.
on that, the sand will require certain maintenance, almost
Correct.
a daily maintenance. So we'll be sure if anything happens to the overnight from a wildlife perspective,
Right.
that we'll clean that up because the sand will have to be raked and prepared for the next game.
Right.
Yeah, but we don't anticipate organized. How to say this? Like if somebody shows up at 10 o'clock on a Thursday morning just to play sand volleyball with friends, it doesn't, where it's not like a game that we're expecting or a league using it. Will we have been there in the morning? I'm just asking. We're not always,
Yeah.
like, we have a maintenance plan that includes first thing every morning going there.
Right, so this would go into the general rotation like our other parks. Typically what you see with the groups that use sand volleyball, there's a lot of personal responsibility. Rakes are typically left, the group, you know, they'll rake and get everything ready before their match. So it'll be a combination of both community, maintenance plus that's what we're doing.
And the trail, just to clear this up,
Mhm.
is just, it's not through the woods. It's
Correct.
just, we talked about it a long time ago, 2.5 years ago, I guess. It's just around the perimeter of the
Correct, yeah,
property.
nothing on that little strip.
Nothing in the
Right.
strip. Okay.
Yep.
All right, anybody else?
Yes.
It's through the woods in the main property, just not that, there's no
Yeah.
connection from the
Right.
trail to the neighborhood.
Right.
But within the park itself, it was a little
Yeah,
loop that would connect to the
okay.
sidewalk on either side.
Mhm, Right,
Tarmac, right?
right.
Yeah.
Tom?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit about the sand volleyball as well. City of Suwanee just built a new park, and they have beach volleyball there. And I actually, the mayor, Jimmy Burnett, is on the GMA board. And at the last board meeting, I talked to him about it and said, hey, how are those, the beach volleyball? He said it's extremely popular.
Mhm.
I asked him about maintenance or other issues. He said none at all. So he said it was a great addition to that park. And just for clarity, we did have some residents that had requested beach volleyball amenity. So that's
And
really.
I know where it came
yeah.
from. I'm just asking logistics questions. I'm
Yeah.
aware of where it came from.
I would be totally open to having a special call meeting in Roswell on the river and we could look at their volleyball and
Yeah.
just
no.
take your shoes off and
Yeah.
get your feet sandy.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, I have a couple of comments. I
Sorry, Catherine, I kind of forgot you were there.
No, I'm still here. I agree with Stacy that if this goes a little over, we have this money. We have, you know, per the mayor's request, the 4 million that remains above the 4 months that we are required to have is kind of it's a squishy and not really committed funding. So I think that it is there and available to use if needed. Does you want to keep the septic tank? Why is that? Is that the environmentally responsible thing to do?
Yeah, let me address the septic system for a moment. We did look at we looked at both options at this point, and the septic has not been approved yet. I mean, not only by y'all, but just in general, we want to make sure we've done the soil sample. In meeting with the DeKalb Public Health Department, they thought there was no reason there couldn't be a septic system on the site based on the number of on the restroom size and the usage of the restroom, because there were 2 houses, 2 different tanks on the property, 2 different fields on the property, which this will have less usage than the other. There was a wild card, so to speak, with running sewer to the property, because I think it's a good ways down Vermac Road. We have to get down there to hit the sewer. It would flow, but it would also be disruptive to the residents along Vermac in terms of we'd have to go down the middle of the street or one lane of the street, dig that up, put the line in. There's gonna be some unforeseen expenses. That was a 6-figure number. Somebody threw out 200,000 at one point. It may be closer to 500,000 just for the sewer element. So we figured if we could do it on site, it's an approved system. It'll be state of the art in terms of all the latest pieces on that, and it will function properly. We'll maintain that in a way if there's ever any issues with it. But that's something you see in a lot of parks, is they have septic systems. Some of them even have composting systems. I wouldn't recommend that for our community, but that is something that's also available.
Is that you're gonna keep the second septic tank and just let it sit there? Is that the plan?
All right, so the one house, the brick house is gonna be torn down and that system will be removed
Oh, it
from
will.
that property. And then this will be a totally new system that we put in, brand new. The White House will look into that house and see, and that's a discussion we want to have with y'all another day as far as what you see on that house. That is, as y'all know, it's an older home. And is that even, not to get into the plan, we're not here to talk about the plan today, but is that something y'all want to keep long-term, or do you want to build another building in that place? I know it's old, but it's not necessarily of historical significance. It's just an old house on the property. So something y'all have to decide at a later date that we could do something with that as well. If we ever had something that was a huge business, we could always run sewer in the future to there. I just don't think, as from my seat, that that's a good use of your funds at this point.
So you can drain, I don't know what they do with the septic, but it, every few years it fills up and then you can drain it. Can that be done
Oh, absolutely, yes.
geographically where we are?
Yes. No, there'll be a schedule for that system, and the system in theory, because you don't have any grease, you don't have kitchen, you don't have washing machines and dishwashers and things going into that system. And so it'll be checked out as long as people don't flush something unusual down there. And there will be, because it's a public park, but we can come in there and clean it out. There's a system for that to do that. It's not a problem. And I can't remember, there's a percentage, I can't remember, Michael Smith would know what the percentage is of homes in Dunwoody that are on septic, but it's a larger percentage than I would have thought originally, especially along the ridge line that we have here. But nonetheless, having said that, it will be a state-of-the-art system. If there's ever a problem, we will maintain that, and it will be built to state standards.
And as I understand it, one of the things is it only the bathroom? People aren't going to be showering there. They're not going to be running a dishwasher or washing machine. It makes a big difference in terms of use of that space. So, Catherine, was that it?
Yep, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Council, with that, that ends the part about the $7 million allotment, and like to jump into the CIP portion of it. And what we want to do is just give just a very high overview of the existing CIP as it's proposed, and a little bit on reading the schedules and amending or proposed amendments to it. Just so you know, there are 4 capital funds. Every once in a while, people look at the fund labeled capital and think that's it, but really we have 4. They're the hotel motel tax-based one, the SPLOST 2, and what's listed here as CIP, which is the general fund. These are in your books on page 48 to 61. And for those that don't have an online copy, we have hard copies for you today if you need them. The amounts that you see on this screen.
Wait, you're going too fast.
Mhm.
Does anybody need a copy of the book? No, okay, you can continue, sorry.
With that, look at these. This is the amount that's allotted for 2026. It's not the total plan for all years, but this is the budget for next calendar year within these funds. And they're broken into 4 categories, or 5. Facilities, public safety, public works, parks, and IT. Just so you know, some of the ones that are in the CIP are smaller one-time purchases, like the IT stuff that's in their replacement technologies and the like. Get in a little bit on how to review the schedules within the books, just so you know, generally this is how it'll appear in all of them. You'll see a project, you'll see the total prior year's budget, and then you'll see it broken out into the next 5 years, totaling up to the total budget for there. The amounts you don't see on here that you may need to ask about are the expended amounts, because they aren't reflected on here. This is the budgeted amount. And just so you know, proposed amendments can move within a calendar year, or you can move around to years. However, there are things that happen when now they're getting passed out. The schedules will show, if you need to move it, might need to talk about what that will do to timelines and the like. With that being said, this is where it's open discussion for whichever ones that council would defer to talk about first.
Hold on one second.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so my vision of this today was that we could y'all could bring up, or we could bring up projects that you have questions about, or you think should be moved around, or whatever that is. And so I'll open the floor. Yes. Yeah, I mean, we can do that. We can do by department. Um. We can start with parks. If there's anybody that had, concerns about the scheduling, I guess, is that the way we would say it? The scheduling of long-term, projects that we're funding over time? If anybody has any questions or anything about parks, go ahead, John.
I'll kick it off. I'm of the opinion, I was looking at all the different projects and the funding. I mentioned this previously, the Peeler project from Glaze to Lakeside, $2 million in this budget. The Winters Chapel project is a federally funded project, and it's not going to be anywhere near Glaze for the next 4 years. I'm of the opinion that we might want to move that $2 million and do other things that are more impactful short-term versus doing the Peeler project now. That's one project that I would like to, look at moving that $2 million and do something more impactful short-term. And then the other project that jumped out at me was the very small amount of money, but it's in this year, and that's the going from Dunwoody Elementary to the neighborhood. I forget, it's maybe 50,000 this year, 50,000 in the previous year. I don't think that project is moving forward. That could be lined out. But we could basically go through the projects and make sure that everything is, as far as I'm concerned, in previous budget items or budget meetings, we would go line by line and just look and shake our heads and say, yep, that's good, or no, that's not. And to me, I just think it needs a thorough review. If this is the reason we're having this meeting,
Okay.
we should probably go line by line, but that's my opinion.
Okay, so okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so just to clarify, you want to go through, just so I know what page to open my book to. You want to go through the proposed 48. Okay, sorry. Okay, hold on. I'm okay with that, and I can get to that page. Yeah, there's more hard copies. Sharon has more hard copies. Does somebody want one? Who wants it? Okay, I have my hard copy. Okay. 49, okay. So I'm just gonna read down the projects and then, but I'm gonna look up and see if people have questions. And I might have comments too. All right, who needs? Okay, I'll give everybody a minute to get to that page.
Could we, and also just from a readability perspective, and this might be Richard Plato or Michael Smith,
Right.
the PY budget column. So there's things that have PY budget in there, but then there's nothing in further columns. So can you just,
Yeah,
can we
tell
get
us what
somebody
it
just
is.
kind of level set us? It's on there, but then there's no other entries in any other columns. Could you just kind of level set us why that's there?
Sure. So I'll use the Hotomoto Fund page 49,
Mhm.
and we'll go to
The first
project
one.
number P1D, Path Connection to Central Park. So
Mhm.
that has in previous years established a $50,000 budget. There is no money added to it in the out years, so the total budget is $50,000. As of 6/30/25 this year, we've spent $41,868 of that $50,000 budget. So remaining in that project is $8,132.
So could you do P1C since you're there to explain that one?
Sure. So again, in prior years, we've already included $2.8 million in that budget.
Mhm.
And then in all the out years, we continue to use estimated current funding for that year. We're adding to that project each year to get to a $7.1 million total budget for that project.
Gotcha.
Through September 30th, we've spent $376,000 of that money. June 30th, we spent $376,000. So across all the years in this CIP, that would leave $6.7 million available based on the timing of each year of when that funding is available.
So the PY budget is cash, right? Like, or how much we funded already?
Correct, yes.
And then,
yes.
okay. All right.
To follow up then, so if it has a PY budget, nothing for subsequent years, and an actual to date, does that mean that the remaining budget is left over, like extra that could be reallocated at some point, or?
So we could go project by project to determine that.
Okay,
I'd
so
probably need
some of it
help
may
with
be
that,
contingency
so-
that wasn't being used, some may be
Or it's not
funds
finished
that are
yet.
still
Yeah,
to
it's not
finish the
finished yet,
project.
yes,
Or
yes,
it's not
exactly,
finished yet.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yes.
gotcha.
Okay, so does everybody level set on what we mean here? All right, so the first project, which I think is actually mostly complete, is the phase one of the Ashford Dunwoody multi-use trail. Correct? Anybody have questions on that? Because that's mostly complete, right? Michael, that's mostly complete?
Yes, that is complete.
Okay, so that's complete. So if there's remaining budget, eventually you're gonna come to us to reallocate it.
Right. Richard and I have talked about that, and probably at the end of around the end of the year, there will be a capital project budget amendment to move balances of closed projects.
Okay. So, but everyone, well, we're finished. It's irrelevant. So the next project is the multi-use path 2, Ashford Dunwoody multi-use path 2, which would continue this project. We haven't started that one, right? We're in.
Yes, we've done
The design.
We're substantially complete on the design.
Okay.
And we're acquiring right away right now.
Right. So I'm really excited about this project. Does anybody have concerns about this project? Okay. Next is the path connection to Central Park Way, which looks like it's complete pretty much because we've spent the money. Is that correct? Or am I misunderstanding?
That was some design money.
Okay,
And there's still some activity going over there,
Mhm.
but it depends on right away. So, I mean, it's still kind of in progress, but
and is this a project we'd share with the CID?
yes.
Okay. I don't even know where that is, but that's okay. Okay. The top and Trail West. That is, oh, that's the managed lanes related project, correct?
Yes, and
Right.
that's to deal with filling some gaps over there on Hammond Drive on the
Right.
cycle track. And then also there's been discussion about a connection from Hammond to Campus 244.
Right.
And that would also be something we would look for participation from the CID.
Right. And maybe GDOT, depending on their plans, or is this one off the interstate
This
enough?
is more off.
Okay.
This is more on the Hammond side
Okay.
of things.
All right. Anybody, okay, and then I'm just gonna finish this last one on this one, and the trail wayfinding signs.
Yes, that's a project we're working on this year and plan to bring a contract to council at some point for installation of signs.
Okay, I was somewhere, where was I? Oh, in Cary, North Carolina, which, except for being a lot bigger than us, is very similar, and they have fantastic signs, not just for trails, but for lots of things, wayfinding. Anybody have questions on any of those?
Well, Mayor, to circle
ahead.
back, so it sounds like we're gonna have a budget amendment of $214,000 probably for the Trail 1,
Mhm.
Ashford Dunwoody. So is that money that could be allocated now for projects?
Yes, within the hotel motel fund. So, we would probably recommend allocating it to phase 2.
Because our
until-
commitment when we raised that tax was to invest it in that area, just in case people don't understand. Was to invest it in, they ask us to do it so we can make improvements in the perimeter area. So. But if there's a different priority from here that's not missing, it's missing that someone wants, we can mention it and put it on a list for later, Okay. All right, is that one okay? Oops. All right, parks. The field lights are complete, right, Rachel? Right,
Yeah, at what point, like, those lights have been complete for
yeah, when do
a
they?
couple years now, right? Why is
What?
it, just out of
Right.
curiosity, when does it come off?
Do we include everything to show the total that y'all have spent and allocated in the hotel motel fund? We can take, so that way it's an easy number to pull. If anybody ever asks questions, we can say we've directed $12 million in total of hotel motel fund toward all of these projects. Happy to pull it off if we want it
I
pulled off.
think
we can
that
certainly
just
pull
when
it off.
when we do this again, the list should just not include things that are completed or separate, like a highlighted or something, that these are completed. There's no money for a water feature, don't even know what that was. Wayfinding signage is complete. This is parks, though.
parts, but it's still a hotel.
It's complete, right? Okay. Womack Road ceramic mural, that's already done, right? Connect Dunwoody placemaking plan is already done. Perimeter Center East improvements with an asterisk. I don't think there's a fairly large amount of money left. Is that complete?
Supposed to be for 2 bridges. Yeah. The shade structures of 2 bridges.
So has that been paid for?
Look at that up. Yep.
So
That
does
should
that
be cleared
mean that,
out.
I don't know who would answer this, but we're pretty confident we'll have $131,000 left from that, or we don't know yet?
I believe, I think we ended up at 125 for
Okay.
the shade, so yeah, there won't be much.
Oh, I see. So the remaining budget was used for the shades.
Correct.
Okay. We're on the shade. So the remaining balance there was already used for the shades. Okay. I think the Dunwoody sign is in limbo, I think. The swing sign is in limbo.
We're still looking for a space for it. And just to let you know, the Connect Dunwoody placemaking
Yes.
plan has not been done.
Oh, it's not.
It was
done.
set
Oh,
aside
I see.
with the swing sign in case we needed to build a park or a
Mhm.
plaza around that. So
Okay.
those 2 projects sort of go hand in hand.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, anybody have questions on that, Catherine, or no?
Nope.
Okay, I saw your.
I just want to make sure that's $250,000 for the swing sign.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Right.
Been there for 5 years now.
Right. So I think it also begs the question sort of that we asked a second ago about complete projects, like when do projects get, not to say it's stale, but at what point do we say, because several council people have invested a fair amount of energy trying to figure this out. Staff has too. I want to be clear, staff has invested a lot more energy than council. So it's something, I guess, to put maybe on the retreat list is not necessarily specific to the sign, although we could have a conversation about the sign, and that we're really facing some significant challenges.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes, absolutely. It'd be just the size of the sign. We're concerned that 250 is not going to be enough because
Probably enough to spend on that,
it's
but
a
yeah.
massive sign, because we haven't had it designed. We do have one idea that we can talk about hopefully soon about where
Okay.
it might go. And so,
Right, but there's a lot of money already for
yes,
that sign. Okay.
No doubt.
And I just as a FYI, the furniture store will be putting on the side of their building as you come off the ramp Dunwoody, because that was a condition of the rezoning. Okay, so on that one, I know you know this, Eric, but don't commit. I mean, just got to bring it back to us before we invest a lot more time and energy in it. I think that's my opinion. All right, Springwood Park. You want to explain where that is for people that don't know where it is?
Sure. So what, kind of, if you State Farm, Campus 244, that corner, Springwood Parkway, there's the beautiful bridge with the new Dunwoody sign on it. So like a triangle shape, it's about 5.5 acres. It's that little piece of property.
Is it 5.5 acres and it goes down?
It does, yeah. Perimeter Creek runs through it. It's, yes. It backs up right there to the line of Dunwoody and Sandy Springs.
So right now we don't really have any money.
The 50,000 would be for design only.
Is CID going to participate in this?
They've shown interest, yes.
It's an interesting project
Mhm.
because of if it's gonna get used.
Yeah.
Well, there is a plan at some point for a hotel on the State Farm
So do
property.
we
And
wait
so
until,
apartments.
they
there's
just,
the-
but
and-
the
and
person
apartments there.
that was doing that has retired.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure that's imminent,
No, but
so,
So that, we have followed on the part of the placemaking plan, we rated all the projects. The top 5, that was number 3.
yeah, okay,
So just to understand, we're sort of going down
yeah,
that top 5 list and pulling each one of those. And so that's where that project comes from.
okay.
I guess my thought is
It's a lot
design
more.
it and then we can wait to build it when we
Yeah.
think it's the right time for it. And
Right.
they're not necessarily need to rush it and get it done.
No, well, we don't
But
even
have an
have
idea
it
of what we're gonna
funded
do.
for many years, so. All right, perimeter park at Dunwoody, MARTA, that's under the tracks?
Yes, across from High Street. Yep.
Uh-huh, go ahead.
So and I talked about this when we had staff meeting, it's gonna be budgeted, but I would prefer that we do not spend this until we get the landowner to agree that they would allow that public amenity to be built. So this is a private land. This is owned by them all.
Right, so don't design it until they're on.
Right.
board.
I don't want to spend a dime on it except for some
Right.
staff work. And if and legally, I'd like to get as close to a legal agreement before we even spend a dime.
Yeah.
What do y'all think?
No, I agree.
I agree, and I'll even add the caveat that there are no sidewalks or no safe way to cross from High Street to the mall there.
Right, but that's a priority, like a
So to me,
different
that needs to
priority.
get attention for
Yeah.
park right there.
Yeah,
priority. Sorry, some technical problems. Okay. So on this one, I think the main takeaway is the MARTA thing. The MARTA, park underneath, we shouldn't until the property owner is on board. As well as, and then the Dunwoody sign, the swinging sign. I think we have to be careful about cost. And, at some point, I guess it goes on a perpetual, the question becomes, and we can talk about it at the retreat, is the value of perpetual list. Like, when do you clean up your project list? Go ahead.
I'm going to ask a question in the concept of use of the hotel motel. Eventually, we have to build a new bridge or contribute to the new bridge over on Chamblee Dunwoody over 285. Is in the spirit of this intent of this hotel motel fund, could those funds potentially be used to augment the features we're trying to add onto that bridge with GDOT, which is a pretty big price tag?
That wasn't on the original list that was discussed with the hotels. At some point, the city will maybe complete that list, and then I guess new things could be considered. But I think from the hotel's perspective, they would say that's not something that was discussed when this was implemented.
But if GDOT moves as slowly as they've been moving, there's a chance that we will have substantially completed some of the projects on this list, and we could ask, but I will be gone, so whatever. I mean, it's who knows? It's guessing as to when they're gonna get to that project. Okay, so next is, what is this next one? SPOS 1 fund. Okay, so the road resurfacing fund, we spent, it seems like we probably spend what we put in. Is that right, Michael?
Yes, I think that's just some leftover funding that hasn't been spent. We would just roll that into, a future year's paving.
Okay, anybody have questions on repaving? Nope, okay. Dunwoody Club sidewalks.
That project's completed.
Oh, right.
There's a number of projects on here.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the numbers. So the crosswalk, why don't you tell me which one's not? Go to the first one on the list that's not completed.
Okay,
Tilly Norwood.
North Shaliford, oh no, sorry.
That's
Mount Vernon Road corridor.
okay.
That's 1814.
Okay.
That's the second phase of Mount Vernon after Mount Vernon and Tilly Mill. And that project, there's a little bit of money left here. There's more money budgeted in SPOS 2 to move that project forward. It's in design right now.
Anybody have questions on that project? Okay, next one that's not complete. I guess it's Winter's Chapel.
There's a little bit of money left in the pedestrian crossing improvement, crosswalk lighting. We're adding lighting here and there where it's identified, but it's not a lot of money. The Tilly Mill sidewalk peeler to West Madison, that's money that was, the design was started on that, and then we got to basically the concept and we put it on hold because there wasn't construction funding available in the 5-year CIP to move it to construction. So it's been on hold. And there's just money left that hasn't been spent for the design and right away yet.
So the money that's left is, oh, how much? No, it looks like you spent it all.
Wait, I'm reading it. There's an additional 188K going in 26.
Right.
And so
Yeah, the way this reads, it's a little confusing, I guess, that all this money in SPLOST 1 was already budgeted in previous years, and the future years does not really show new money being added. It shows, it's more of like a cash flow of when the money that's already been budgeted is projected to be spent. So right, that's right. Yeah, Richard's nodding his head. So that, what was it, 180,000? It's already in there, and it's just, that's when finance is projected it to be spent from a cash flow perspective.
But are there bills waiting to be paid on it?
No, it's been on hold for,
So does that mean, just so I can understand, that there's essentially $445,000 in that fund, or is it 188,000, or is it none of the above for that?
I don't know that I'm looking at
Okay.
the same thing here you're
Wait,
looking at, but yes, probably around 400,000 remaining that has not been spent.
I'm looking at 1818. Are you looking at
It's-
something different?
Yeah, PDF page 51,
Right.
SP1, 1818.
The peeler to Tilly Mill, the peeler to West Madison
So
sidewalk.
445.
Right.
That's total expenditures. Yeah, this doesn't show remaining. Some of that's been spent. I think there's around 400,000 left.
So-
and that has not been spent.
Okay.
And is currently not committed because the project's on hold.
And that would be very expensive to build, I take it.
Yes.
Okay.
And we could try to break it up into smaller segments, but even that one curb has to be added on parts of it, which means more stormwater and all
Okay.
that. So
All right. This next one.
What could I ask?
Go ahead, sorry.
So my question was construction when, or you talk about phase it. So is that something you can bring back to us, maybe at the retreat or whatever? I don't know the low level of this estimated total cost and the timeline. What would it take and cost to build that out completely?
okay, I mean, I can tell you, if the funding was dropped in there today to fully fund it, it would probably be 2029 before it could be designed right away, utilities start construction. The next.
Did you have a question, Tom?
Yes, I'm just trying to completely understand though. So that the money that's allocated to 26, 188,000 and change for that project, that's money that has not been spent but is not necessarily planned to be spent in 26.
That's correct. Yeah, I think for first draft purposes, finance put some numbers in for 2026. We could go back and move those to more realistically what year we think they would actually be spent in. But showing it all in the first year from a cash flow standpoint is kind of worst case scenario. So
Because this is SPLOST 1, we're not obligated to spend it on this particular project. We can reallocate if this project's on hold for the next 5 years.
yeah.
We can reallocate that to maybe a more shovel-ready sidewalk project.
Yes, you could reallocate any of these to any other project within SPLOST.
Yeah, I'd like us to explore that for that. That's a lot of sidewalk we could build with that.
Mhm.
Right.
With that, continuing that conversation. So yeah, you can come up with a short list of, here's all the stuff that's just kind of sitting out there. They have
Mhm.
funds, but we're not shovel ready for several years.
Right, and we might find some of that on this list as we keep going through. But I think that that's what we need to look at too. All right, so next is,
Next would be the
Actually, it's 1819, the Oak Point place. I have a question.
That's done. I was trying to.
But what's done? Because we don't have a sidewalk there. So, because that is on your short segment
No,
sidewalk. So
that-
what's done?
This is the part, the part that's on my list to fund is going north from Oak Point Place. This is the part we did going south and then down Dunwoody Road. So that was.
Okay, so yeah, that is done.
What's up with Sandy Springs building their segment?
I'm not sure the latest. I know they did program it in their CIP, but we'd have to check and see where that stands. That they did complete the gap on Spalding, I think. So all that's left is just that gap on Dunwoody Road. Okay, the next one that's still ongoing is the 1823, which we talked about a little bit earlier. That's the bigger sidewalk project, and y'all are discussing carving out the shorter segment to go ahead and do the north end of that project. And that's the money that's still available in that project is what we were saying we would use in addition to the new 50,000 to try to complete that.
Sorry, going back up, sorry, to 1821, the Vermac Road, Vanderland to Womack ADA improvements. I thought that's what we did last summer. So is it 100% complete or
Yes,
there's
that's
still
complete.
100,000 budgeted for 2026?
That's right. So when we do
Pull
that
that.
budget amendment, that'll come there, there's a couple of 100,000 in here that will be in that budget amendment that can be moved just from closed projects.
Okay, so on this project, the one we're talking, not that one, but the Vermac Road, Parliament Way to Vermac Swim Tennis Sidewalk. You had budgeted like $250,000. How much is that sidewalk gonna cost? Or was that just designed, like,
That what's in there now was just for design and some, begin the right of way process. That we didn't have any construction funding in that one.
okay, so we would move this money to the shorter segment plus the $50,000, okay.
Right.
So moving this. Okay, but maybe we can find money to do the rest, okay. All right, next.
Okay, the next one is 1824 Tilly Mill Shared Use Path. That's the north end of Tilly Mill. That was started a couple of years ago. We got to concept design and then that one was put on hold because I think it wasn't in the short-term the path master plan did not have it as one of the short-term projects. So we haven't been working on that one. Because again, also there wasn't any construction funding imminent on that too, so.
All right. You can keep going unless anybody had a question. John, was your hand up? Sorry.
No, but I'll just ask, so we're putting $100,000 toward that, and what are we doing with that? Is that still, are we working that 100,000 this year?
No, right now that's on hold. I mean, we don't have any plans to.
So is that another 100,000 that we can clean up to put towards other projects?
Let's see, hold on. I mean, I'm showing close to 200,000 there. So if the council wants to move it, it'd be closer to 200,000 if we just want to move all of it.
Okay.
I mean, if we're not going to move forward with it soon.
Right. Okay. All right, next, back page.
Okay, 1825 Peeler Road path, that project is about the design is about 60% complete. We were entering the right-of-way phase for that. There's some easements and a little bit of right-of-way close to Peeler that's needed. And so we're currently that one is projecting on the timeline for construction as soon as the right-of-way is acquired.
And that's where I was thinking that because of the Winter's Chapel being delayed because of the federal funding, I was seeing the opportunity to take that money, push it back a few years and then do other projects with it.
I mean, I don't know. I think the challenge with this for me is that some of the neighbors do want something, a sidewalk or a path. Go ahead, Stacy.
I mean, we had a vote. We've voted to keep moving forward with it, and it is still moving forward. I don't think there's any reason to stop it at this point because it's still a ways out. Just with 60%, even the design and the right of way. I mean,
Right. Well, I understand the vote. I just also remember the bond referendum, which was also a vote, but that's okay. We'll move forward as council decides.
I would support continuing moving forward. It's another tooth in the network. It's going to connect a neighborhood to a park. And it's just like all of our other segments, they will eventually all connect with each other. And we're not able to just say, okay, we're all just gonna all of a sudden magically make 2 miles of trail segment in one fell swoop. And I realized that there might have been a bond referendum, but our master plans have been remained. And I support continuing to move forward.
Stacy, do you have something?
I mean, and to me, this is connecting a neighborhood to a park on a 35-mile-an-hour road that does not have a sidewalk at this point. So I really
In the
support-
commercial district as well.
and a commercial district as well. So we've put a lot of time and effort into this already, and I think it should continue to move forward.
So be it.
Okay. Next is the Dunwoody Elementary School path.
Right.
I say we remove that. The neighbors aren't interested, the school system. Well, the school, who knows what's gonna happen with elementary school districting and redistricting in the future because of things. And I think if the neighborhood isn't asking for it, they're the people, though they think a lot of other people would use it. That's why they don't necessarily want it. I don't think that's what's gonna happen. But if they're not clamoring for it, I think we can put that $100,000 towards something else.
Michael, is it a full 100,000 or is it only 50,000 at this point?
It's 100,000. We budgeted 100,000 to do some design a few years ago, and we never signed a contract or spent any of the money, so.
And we probably don't have an agreement to cross Georgia State either. It's their property that we would have to cross. So we don't have an agreement on that either.
Correct.
Great,
Right.
thank you.
Unless anyone has a strong feeling, I
And
think,
I even met with the neighbors down there specifically because they had concerns with it.
right.
So
It's just if they're not gonna use it, if they're not asking for it, that's who it would have been for. So,
I would just in general, if we ever do consider these kind of projects, that let's have a separate conversation, maybe at the retreat or something. There's other opportunities potentially across Dunwoody for short neighborhood connections. Because I totally support helping it. So if kids can walk safely to school, that's the world I'd like to live in. And because I've got some folks talking about some other areas, but yeah, it's like, let's talk to the neighbors first.
I
Go
will
ahead.
say, my neighborhood, we paid for the path to connect to the elementary school. Michael was thankful we worked for the paving, but my neighborhood, we did a fundraiser and PTA matched us, and we had a paid path. Because we wanted it. We were clamoring for it.
Do we have, I mean, I use Google Maps and I have a list of different places. There's probably at least 6 or 8 of them around city of Dunwoody.
I don't disagree, except that I think we have so many other projects we want to do that it's not necessarily the right time to add new, like we have sidewalks that need to be built and everything else. So if we can take funding from this particular project and add it to something that can be done, I think that's not a terrible strategy. All right, Michael, which is the next one?
The Dunwoody Park gap at Dunwoody Park North, we completed that, so that's money
Okay.
that we can move. The next one, North Shaliford Path, that's the money, we have federal money for,
Mhm.
and so we're, everything we're showing in SPLOST 1 and SPLOST 2 is to meet our federal match commitments and complete that project.
Awesome. And we actually have a rezoning coming to us of one of the commercial buildings over there.
Yes,
next
and we've
month.
been working with community development
Okay.
on that and how it affects our path.
Right.
The Old Spring House path, that's under construction now. Happy Hollow sidewalks is 60% design, and we're entering right-of-way phase. Mainly, we just need driveway easements on that one. So there's more money on that project in SPOS 2
Mhm.
that fully funds that project.
And when I spoke at DHA, this was like the only capital improvement question I got was about the sidewalks on Happy Hollow that they had been promised since the city became a city. So we're getting there.
Ridgeview
Michael,
Road.
sorry, before you go, because I just want to keep the same thought project in mind. You said
Mhm.
there's, we're looking at, this is SPOS 1. Yeah. So you said that this project also identified as SPOS 2.
Yeah, so this, it was originally started funding in SPOS 1, and that's what's shown here. But that's not all the money. There's another, it's also a line item in SPOS 2 for the rest of the funding.
I know that there's one on, it's the nomenclature SP and then 124.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That's a.
Never mind,
finance,
never mind. Okay. But it did say Happy Hollow Road sidewalk as well, but it says Kingsland Court to Peeler.
Yes,
And that, so
we
there's
need
two
to,
parts.
we need to clean up some of the descriptions. But originally, we did the concept all the way from Dunwoody Club to Peeler. But for construction, we're just looking at Kingsland Court South. So we can,
Clean up the,
match
description.
those descriptions.
and that is, so I know we're leapfrogging back to SPOS 2, but I just want to talk about the same project though. So that does show 673K in 2026 to design and construct, but then there's cash flow throughout 3 years with a total funding of 2.6 million. But that build is not going to happen till several years from now. Is that, when was
We're
that?
planning for 2027 for construction
Oh.
because we're
Okay,
all, as part of that, when it's done, we're gonna resurface Happy Hollow Road.
okay. Thank you.
The next one that's not
Ridgeview
funded.
Road South, that's, that also, I think, has some funding in SPOS 2. That's to fill in a short sidewalk segment and make Ridgeview Road a standard road width. That's scheduled to be completed by next summer because we're
Okay.
also repaving the road.
Okay, and I know the neighbors asked for that.
Correct.
Right, years, right?
Yeah. Womack's, that's Cambridge to Vermac, that's a sidewalk project that we're currently designing and planning to move forward with. Filling that sidewalk gap. Healer Road, Lakeside to Tilly Mill, that's not even full design funding. That was just some concept level to see. There's a sidewalk gap on the north side of Peeler near the reservoir. And so we've done some basic concepts for what that would look like, but there's no other funding attached to that. So that, although the project's not completed, there's really no more work on that at this point. Same,
So does that mean there's no sidewalk on either side of the road right there?
no, the reservoir side has sidewalk all the way from Tilly Mill to Winter's Chapel. And the north side does not, except for as you get close to.
Okay, but there's on one side.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the 1841, the Perimeter Center West Beacon, that was completed. The North Peachtree Beacon has been completed. This is a project that Councilwoman Harris mentioned earlier that we're asking for additional funding for. We did a concept on it a couple of years ago, and the money in that additional sidewalk funding is to finish that. Okay, the Peeler Road, and same with Peeler Road sidewalk. That was also, we had concept and then we added money in that 7 million to finish it. The 53 Perimeter Center East sidewalk gap. This is another one that's in SPOS 2, and I think the description is maybe a little different, but this is, originally we were looking, there is a sidewalk gap there. We were originally looking at just filling that sidewalk gap, on the old City Hall property. But we have a concept which we've presented publicly, but we haven't brought it to council yet, to take half the roadway, move the traffic to one side of the road, and then create a path and kind of linear park on the other side of the road. We'll be bringing that to y'all here in the next couple of months. And that,
So I don't object to the plan. It sounds interesting, but if those office buildings are knocked down and redeveloped, Richard's here, I guess, still, would there be an obligation for them to make some of the investment? And of
well,
course,
yes, I mean, the current zoning on that property, they were committed to building a path on their property,
on their property, okay.
you know, on the right of way, but it's on their frontage, I should say. Yeah, if somebody else is gonna come in and do a different development and requires a rezoning, and those same conditions can be applied, so that's something I guess the council, I think we should present the plan we have and
Yeah.
see, it may be that this is better received than maybe just doing it on the side of the road, but that's something council could weigh.
Yeah, I've seen the plan and it's very exciting. It's a low cost for a high win. CID is totally on board with it. Anyway.
And we approved those, the residential projects back there, so that's good too. Okay. All right, keep going, please.
The Georgetown Trail, that we did some concept design work on that so that we could work with DOT. And we're waiting on the intergovernmental agreement with DOT, but it looks like they're going to agree to build that as part of their managed lane project. So hopefully we shouldn't have to put any more funding to that.
And that's part of just in case people don't know, it's part of a regional plan that the mayors across the top end have been working on.
Top End Trail, yeah.
Yeah,
You might want to put a little extra description on there
yeah. We can do that,
versus just saying Georgetown.
right?
Okay, the Dunwoody Club Drive sidewalk is another one we did a little bit of concept work on, but nothing active on that right now. The Dunwoody Village Parkway sidewalk extensions, that was to build that sidewalk on the little road into the shopping center by the post office. We have that design. We actually after a long time, the post office finally agreed to the easement. So, but we haven't moved forward with that because, you know, there was some discussion about what's going to happen with the post office, but that money's still there.
I could ask, is that a public street?
Yes,
It is.
up to between Dunwoody Village Parkway and the edge of the parking lot is right of way on all three of those, but at Marlowe's and then the middle one and then the one at the post office, not the alley by the post office, but the one north of the post office.
I just wanted to make sure that we have the ability to do those improvements without the easements or without the right of way being dedicated.
Right, the road is in public right of way. The easement we need is to be a permanent easement for the sidewalk on the shoulder.
All right, there you go. You got it. Thank you.
So Michael, is that total cost $250K? Is that an estimate construction?
Correct.
Do we want to, not tonight, have another philosophical conversation of whether we want to do that or not? Then,
Well, and that's why we haven't really pulled the trigger on that yet. So yes, I think that would be good to have a conversation.
and even if things remain as is, okay, the sidewalk ends and then, you know, Mr. or Mrs. Regency connected, please, what are they going to do? So if we do go forward, I'd love to talk about, okay, well, private-public partnership, what are you doing to build that connection further?
Right, plus we have the uncertainty with the post office. Okay.
Okay, last one under this first section is Winters Chapel Path Phase 2. That's also another federal project with more funding in SPLOST 2, and it's moving forward in design.
Okay.
Intersections, Mount Vernon, Tilly Mill, that's, you know, we've acquired the right of way. We're working now with utilities to try to get all the conflicts worked out. The Cab Water has decided that they want to replace the water main there with 2 new water mains. So we're working through that, and we're working through utilities to get a bid out as soon as possible. A construction bid.
You working to get a bid out?
Are they
Really?
where are they gonna put the water mains? under the sidewalks? There are no sidewalks there, or are there?
No, I think the one of them, they both are gonna have to go in the road
Oh,
because
lovely.
we've looked and there's just really no other good option.
And I know this is way in the weeds and I'll ask quickly, but we had such problems on the other one on Mount Vernon.
That it won't be done the same way.
Okay.
The cab changed their
Okay,
specs and
okay, great, okay. We've already done the stuff at Austin, right? The next one.
correct. We've also, Shamley Dunway at Spalding's complete, the Mount Vernon's Shamley Dunway signal, we ended up not doing anything there because it got taken out by a storm and we had to redo it anyway. Shamley Dunway, Womack's done. Shamley Dunway at Peeler, there's a couple of projects in here, Shamley Dunway Peeler, Shamley Dunway Vermac, that we had started to do a design contract to look at improvements at those two intersections and finishing the sidewalk and the bike connection. And but we haven't moved forward with that. I think a couple of retreats ago, council decided it was too soon after the Gateway project.
Still too soon.
Till.
And I mean, I know sidewalks cost a lot of money, but, and this is a retreat item, but that one missing sidewalk segment on the north side of Chamblee Dunwoody to get to Vermac, can we throw some asphalt down or do something really low cost just for that gap there?
You know,
Instead of a decade from now?
Right. I think that sort of ties into what John talked about, which is I think at the retreat, or maybe sooner than the retreat, we can do it at a meeting, is we need to figure out which of these projects are sort of, what is the word that Michael Starling uses for the buildings? Zombie projects that we're really never going to fund. They're never going to happen and we need to remove them because they hold us up, right? So we haven't done anything with that segment because we thought we were going to do XYZ on the road. So at some point, we probably need to, Eric, we need to review all those sort of long-term projects and figure it out. Okay.
Okay, the road resurfacing in Georgetown is complete. The Chamblee Dunwoody corridor, Dunwoody Village, that's the village crossing project
Talked about
again.
last week.
Federal money, also money in SPOS 2. And then the Ashford connector that's what it's called in the trail master plan. It's a Ashford Center Parkway, probably something similar to what we're looking at on Perimeter Center East, some type of removal of a lane or two and doing some kind of facility there. So.
Okay, so you'll need to fix the traffic light timing in all seriousness because people sit on perimeter, that street up there on Ashford Center Parkway and they're convinced that there's a ton of traffic because of that. So something to think about. Yeah, they are. Well, they are, but anyway, I sit in it a lot.
Okay, traffic calming, there's, I think there's about 20,000 left there to use as needed as a project may come up. West Side Connector, that project's done. I think from our standpoint, GDOT took over that project and is doing their own planning study.
So it looks like there may be a little bit of money left
Yeah.
there. Okay.
Yeah. The Chamblee Dunwoody Bridge, that's ongoing. That'll probably be coming back to council real soon, along with that intergovernmental agreement with GDOT. And then the the jet ferry, that little study was completed. And then the signal pole replacement is in progress right now. So that money will be spent this year.
John, go ahead.
Thanks, Michael. You've completed your list. There's a couple items that I'm interested in. It might be more maintenance, but they're all capital. One is signage replacement. I know in the next meeting, we have something on the agenda for signage replacement. Don't know what that is, but interested in hearing more. As far as in the road, the little reflectors that we've been installing under new construction, I think those are awesome and needed. Almost every main thoroughfare where there's heavy traffic. And then I guess not repaving, but pothole patch, what's your budget there? And is there, I've seen some of the repaving that was done within the last month. Thank you in Dunwoody North. But as far as potholes, I'm still seeing potholes forming every day on, Peeler around the curve right there by Village Mill. I just want to make sure that you have the funding for capital improvements that you need for those types of things. Signage, for example, all the signs near North Peachtree 285, both inside and outside of the expressway that we control. Our city limit is with it right there inside 285. Those might be federal or state signage to be replaced, but all of your Cotillion, Savoy, there's some signage there that really needs to be replaced. Again, I'm interested to hear what's on the agenda for next week for signage, but those are the types of things I want to make sure you have budget. They're small asks, but there could be capital. I want to make sure you have the funding to move forward on those things if so needed.
Okay, the potholes and sign replacement and like refreshing the pavement markings, I think from a finance accounting standpoint, they're all considered operating, not capital, because it's all replacement. So we've been doing all that out of our, operations and maintenance annual budget. And I will say, of course, everything's getting more expensive and it is getting more challenging to do that. But we do pavement marking. We do take that out of road resurfacing because it's the same contractors. But the sign replacement and the pavement repairs are operations and maintenance. And this year, the sign maintenance or sign replacement that we're planning to do, we were using some of the extra LMIG money we got to help supplement our funding to do that. But between the costs going up and then also the regulations or standards are going up, signs now have to meet a certain reflectivity after a certain number of years or they need to be replaced. That's, federally mandated. And now they've just recently passed the pavement markings on certain roads, higher speed and higher volume roads also have to meet those standards. And then the audible buttons that I mentioned earlier, that's a new thing, which we have to replace those from time to time, and those are going to cost more. So the cost of maintenance is definitely going up.
Tom?
Yeah, just in review of this, it seems like there's potentially several $100,000 in money that we could reallocate to other projects that might be more closer to shovel ready. So I have two requests. First of all, that we sort that out and figure out what we have, and that you come to us perhaps with a list of some of those smaller projects that are ready that we could knock out. But I'd also like to request that moving forward, that perhaps those either completed or in limbo projects that are just like in a holding pattern for that all of that is ready for us to discuss at the retreat, and so that we can have those discussions at the retreat, and that by the time we get to the budget, we've already made the decision so that that money, because as we know, like having money tied up in projects that we're not going to build for 5 years, every year that passes, that project gets more and more expensive. So if we could be using that money today to build something today, right, we can get more things done faster and at less cost to the city. So just moving forward, I'd like to have that tweak to the CIP process where all of these projects and allocated funds are clearly reviewed during the retreat, so that by the time we get to the budget, we don't have to have this meeting then. This should have been a meeting that we had, and that's on us. That should be the discussions we have in the spring, so that when the budget's done, we've already prioritized and allocated.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I would prefer not to wait till the to the retreat. We have a number of hundreds of thousands of dollars have been identified in the last 30 minutes or so. And there's a number of projects that are ongoing that could be extended. For the one that jumps out at me is the North Peachtree one. We've already are extending sidewalk or modifying from the apartment complex to Chestnut. You have a little bit further to go to get up to the middle school and then to Brook Run at the crosswalk there. To me, that sidewalk is inadequate for all walkers, including all the children that would walk that area. To me, that's a priority, and I'd like to see something like that. I mean, we can have more discussions, but that's an item that I would like to push forward versus waiting. We have a couple $100,000. We're working that project this year anyway. Push it the extra 3 blocks and be done with it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I was just talking more of a process
In the
change
future.
moving forward. So every year, this
Right.
process is more seamless and more mobile and quicker.
So what's the next steps? I mean, because, I mean, obviously we have the budget cycle, fine, October 27th approved, but yet you can come to us at a sooner date and say,
mean-
we've got some amendments and here's some other
Yeah.
things we can put
It
it.
doesn't
toward.
have to be next week, but it would be helpful. There's 2 ways to do this, I see. One is that our instruction to you will be, bring us as many shovel-ready projects, you know, whatever, above and beyond what you've already showed us. And your job is to look at these zombie projects, for lack of a better word, and find the funding as much as possible. Or you just bring us the amount of funding and we find the projects. So, or you recommend the projects. I think I'm saying the same thing in 2 different ways at this point. But I think I think there's a practicality to this that we have to find, and to Tom's point, we have to find a way to better track projects that may never happen. And then this list, that as we see it, the completed projects don't need to be on the list. But yeah, okay, so I don't think we have to wait. Well, you said you were gonna do it by the end of the year?
Finance was planning to bring a budget amendment towards the end of the year.
Right, that's only like 3 meetings from now. So yes, so do that.
And along with that, you'd have recommendations based on feedback
Yes,
of
yeah,
what to put it
usually,
towards.
we've done that in the past. We'll say,
Right.
here's money from these projects. We recommend putting it to these projects. And so it zeroes
Okay.
out.
Thank you. Chief, are you here? Right. From my perspective, council can correct me if I'm wrong. The easiest on this list is for you to tell us if something isn't completed, or, you know, what you still need from this list, or if we've completed it all, or maybe that's not even the accurate way to talk about it. I don't even know.
And this is the SPOS 1 list. we're
Right,
still
we're
at.
not even on 2.
Correct.
Yeah, what page is that on?
I'm sorry, page 653.
Got a hard copy if you want.
Yeah, I got it. I get mine.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Police vehicles, of course, this is just ongoing.
right.
Radio coverage improvements, that's complete. Expand video surveillance, that's complete. In-car camera system replacements. I think we're still waiting on a couple outstanding for our new vehicles that are back over here by the old Chili's.
Okay.
Police copiers complete. Computer replacements, we've already completed that. AED replacements. Those are complete. Police equipment. It looks like I've got a little bit left.
Mhm.
Thank you, Jay. I'll have to look and see what was
That's
allocated
okay.
for the remaining money there. Taser replacements, that is complete. And the SWAT storage building is ongoing.
Okay, does anybody have questions on any of this? Most of this is just gonna be constant, right?
That's correct. Mayor.
Even,
Yeah, that's correct, Mayor.
even the police equipment and all that's constant. Okay,
Correct.
thank you. No
Yes,
questions.
ma'am. Okay.
I don't know who wants, I guess it's parks. It's kind of parks. It's kind of public works, but Rachel, you can take it. Yeah.
Yeah, for the facilities and the parks, yeah, those are both, we've gone through those, so that's your
Okay.
annex windows, your HVAC, all the big things we've done last 2 years.
The annex looks nice.
Thank you.
Okay, so any questions on these? So this money's gone.
Yes.
Just a more generic question, and it may crop up in SPOS too, but are there big maintenance needs that you don't have funding for right now?
No, everything else you see is in SPOS 2, my general capital, we've kind of earmarked those, yep.
Rachel,
Okay.
what's the plan for the replacement of the playground at Brook Run? I knew it was on a list, but we haven't talked about it. What's the timeline and what's the possible cost?
I'm estimating $500,000 only based on the size, because the playground alone plus those gazebos would all have to be plus the servicing. I'd love to do it next year. I would look at that from my general capital, that fund 350, where a lot of our improvements come from, try to wrap it in there.
Okay, does it make sense to do it all in once or do you want to piecemeal it?
Phase it out for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
And that's a great park to do that because of how it's currently
Right,
laid
correct,
out
right.
without impacting the entire playground.
okay. I think that's a priority that we need to
Mhm.
look and make sure that's budgeted appropriately
Yep.
at the right time, if not sooner, just whatever is appropriate, but it's on the list. It really wasn't discussed. I want to make sure that we are discussing it and that it's a priority when it's needs to be a priority. Thank you.
Rachel, do we want to just, she only has 2 more items on SPOS 2 as well. Do we want to just continue that? Just SPOS 2, is there, that's on page 57, the bottom.
57?
You've got 2 more items. There's same item numbers, but they've got annual expenditures.
Let me go and then have Chief come after.
Public Works, but if you'll just go, I guess.
Well,
Talking about the SP 824.
Yeah, 2401.
yeah,
Sure. Yeah, so those general, so the park's green space. Right now, what we have earmarked for that would be your turf repairs, the Wynwood Hollow Tennis Court resurfacing. For facilities repairs, your Brook Run Stream Pump House. And then for parks repairs and maintenance would be sod at the middle school. Donaldson Bannisters asked for a few water line increases. That would use most of what you're seeing there, with everything else, like Councilman Hennigan mentioned, would be coming out of my general fund 350.
So are you saying that the pump house at Brook Run would take all $300,000? Or is that just for 1 year? You're
This is
saying?
for 1 year.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, we ought to talk about that amenity, because it feels like it's a suck of resources and it doesn't work a lot of the times, but maybe that's just my perception because people complain to me about it. And whether or not we ought to improve the park when we're doing the playground actually with a different kind of water amenity.
Yeah, so yes, we've looked at that.
Okay.
Part of that pump house would be to get it above ground, which is why we see a lot of those problems. Currently it's underground.
Okay.
And it takes a lot of maintenance, yes.
Okay. And then there's that thing that was a gift that's a ball. The globe.
Yes.
That worked for about a day.
Yes.
Maybe John remembers, maybe it worked for
Yes,
a week.
I
It's
remember
supposed
it
to
worked for
been-
the day.
It's been decades.
Yes, we actually talked about this a few months ago. So yes, it's a very specialized pressure system that uses water when lifted, just so you're able to spin it. To your point, it barely works. We've kicked around the idea of having maybe an artist build something to have it lifted so you can at least see the globe.
Mhm.
It probably, I don't know that there's a way, because it's about $30,000 to fix that water line every time. Yes. So we may not have the spinning feature, but at
Right.
least more visibility as to, kind of explain, its purpose and why it's there. So we've looked at it from maybe an artistic standpoint.
And Mayor, if I can comment on one thing.
Yeah.
On that. So I think the Rotarians put that in back when it was the county.
Mhm.
So we can reach out. I know some of I don't think any of our staff is a Rotarian. We do have one Rotarian here. He can maybe see if we
There you
can
go.
take that back, because I'd like to give them the opportunity.
Right.
I
Or
mean,
we could give it back and use the space for something else. I mean, I'm not being
Yes.
rude, but it's a playground. And if there's not a way to make it interactive, maybe we sit
The
down with
location.
Rotary and talk about it. And also,
Put that on your list.
is that Michael? Oh, Chief. So, but also, I know that they work in other places, and so maybe there's a different technology or something that Rotary can help us figure out, or we can figure out that's not $30,000 every time it breaks.
Right.
And Mayor, and you're spot on. I think part of the issue was the location of it and the sand that got into it
Yes.
because of that location. Maybe if it weren't somewhere where there are rocks and sand, it would have lasted longer and not broke the seal for keeping that elevated.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought, yeah, what's another location that's more, that would not have that? It's in front of City Hall here at the entrance or somewhere other place that is more of a, yeah.
Sure.
Great, Rachel, back before you leave on just your facilities repairs and maintenance. I appreciate our nonprofit partners. Not for tonight, I don't ask, but if we have things that we know that are gonna be at the Donaldson Bannister that we're doing for upkeep above and beyond, or at the Nature Center, I know we're having the new addition there, or even at the stage door, theater stuff. If you've got some things that we're addressing for them, just of curiosity, it'd be nice to hear about that
For our future or what we've done thus far?
for future.
Okay.
Things that are in the pipeline to address. Thanks.
Catherine, do you have anything, or you're okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. All right, now we go back to Public Works. Sorry, Michael, but it's not nearly as long of a list. We're on page
SPOS 2,
56.
correct?
56, yeah.
So, on this, pretty much everything here is active, except there's a couple of projects that will close. The 1841 and 42 are completed, and the Eidson connection path will be completed. The only thing on here that, going back to North Shaliford Peeler, there's a separate project on here to look at Shanley Dunwoody Vermac that's $50,000 that for some concept design that, if council wants to move, not do anything in that area right now, then that would be maybe some money that could be moved, but everything else on here is active.
Michael, before you close Eidson, I'd want to make sure that all the trees are installed.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think all the trees are installed yet. Thank you.
I did have a question with the Womack sidewalk, Cambridge to Vermac, because it's funded in SPOS 1, but that was just design concept. So the design came out of SPOS 1, and so there's just nothing here, but it is an active project. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, what's in SPOS 1 is design and construction. It's not a very long segment. So I think originally we had it in SPOS 2, but then we had some extra money in SPOS 1, so we just went ahead and funded it in that.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Or maybe this is more of a Richard Plato question of the SPOS 1. Eventually there's going to be like a closeout. And then those SPOS monies have already been committed or closed out and zeroed out. Is that what we'll be doing? And would that happen over the next 12 months, 24 months? You don't know.
What y'all just reviewed is this +1. So as soon as all that, we've collected everything in there, it does earn a little bit of interest still for the money we have. But the projects we just discussed, once the projects are done, that closes out the fund. Yes.
Okay.
School flasher remoter monitoring?
Yeah, that's complete too. So
Okay.
that'll be closed out.
Okay. And that's all we needed for right now?
And
was-
we put them in every
Okay.
flasher.
Okay.
It ended up being a little cheaper than we estimated.
Oh, yeah, like almost $50,000 cheaper,
Yeah.
it looks like. Oh, that's good. So, that's good. All right, I think we're done, Chief. I think the easiest way to do this, because this is all ongoing, is
It is.
if people have questions about any of it. I do. So, go ahead.
I still had a Public Works. I
Oh,
just
I'm
jumped on me.
sorry.
I
Okay.
apologize.
well, okay.
The last one, corridor projects, Village Crossing, Shamley Dunwoody Road, 1829. So in hearing, and I'm looking at this total budget, 13 million.
Yeah, it's
but those are federal dollars, aren't they now? Are we mixing funding source? Because I thought we're just doing local match, and that sounds like the total project cost.
that's currently what the estimated local contribution will be. Right now,
Yeah.
for construction, we have 6 million federal, but the project's estimated to be actually, is the 13 million including the federal? Or no, it's just local, yeah. So I mean, the project's estimated to be like a $15 million project. And so we're just, for construction, plus you have right of way. So we think we'll be able to get more construction funds as we get closer to construction, but right now we're assuming that we've gotten all we're gonna get, and this is how much it's gonna cost to build it.
I'm still confused then, because so is this a SPOS 2 fund? Do we have another section that talks about federal funds?
I think there's a footnote.
Further down?
Below the table that shows the federal.
Oh, yeah, okay, thanks. So if I go back to the total budget though, I'm just reading that single line item here, the single line. It's 13.2 million.
Plus, that's the revenue from SPOS we're using. It doesn't count revenue from other sources.
So what's the total cost all in
20 million.
approximately for the?
Right away, design,
Everything.
everything. I don't have it here in front of me, but I think it's about 18 million.
But did I hear you say that the thought is that there may be additional federal funds?
Yeah, I
for
mean, usually once
construction?
you have some federal funds programmed in the regional transportation plan, it's easier to get additional funding.
So it's like potentially a 50-50 match and our share would be, 6 or 7 and.
It's 50-50. Our match today
Right
would be
now,
9.
right now, we're showing more than a 50% match, but we plan to ask for more money for construction when it gets close. Right, most of the time ARC, when they ask for project solicitations, they really are only looking at the first 2 or 3 years of the tip to program. And since our construction is 4 years out, they recently gave us more money for design, but they're not going to give us money for construction until it gets closer.
So if we had to ballpark estimate, 13 isn't that's not what we think we're gonna have to pay. What do we think we're gonna have to pay? Just knowing that it's a wag that you're.
Yeah, I mean,
I
would.
think we have to pay 13. There's no guarantee.
Okay.
So at some point, potentially there's a discussion about value.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen tonight because it's too far,
I mean, I can say the most we could, we have to provide a 20% match. So the most that we could possibly get would be 80% of the construction.
Right, that would be a really happy day if we got 80% federal of the total cost
Yeah.
of the whole darn project. And then all of a sudden we've got some surplus money from, these are SPOS dollars that we can allocate to other projects in the city.
Yeah. I mean, there's also the option too of, doing segments. I mean, if the money's not there or we don't want to spend that much at the time, there's always the option of, doing the core of the village or something.
Thank
all
you,
right,
Dan.
now
Thank you, Madam
Chief,
Mayor.
you're back. So I think the easiest on this one, because it's a short list and everything's either regularly scheduled or just a constant like expenditure, like vehicles, if anybody has any questions. So I do.
Yes, ma'am.
The portable, I guess 2026 is like right now, really. Sorry, feels a long way away. The last two, the portable vehicle barriers and the riot team equipment. It seems like those are pretty important purchases.
So
But go ahead.
Okay, now I've had conversations with the city manager in reference to the portable vehicle barriers. Due to our special events with our road closures, it's an easy system for us to use to shut down parade routes. Anytime we have Dunwoody Butterfly Festival, and they're real easy to move, but it will stop a vehicle from entering our routes. It is portable on a trailer, so we can bring them. Obviously, they're portable, but easily portable, I should say. They have a trailer. We'll be able to keep it over there at the annex locked up, but we have two F-250s that can transport them and set them up for any type of special events that we're having. Lemonade days. There's multiple uses that we can use.
Right. Will you be able to purchase those like right at the beginning of the year?
I believe there's probably gonna be a little bit of a wait, so we can order them. I don't think there's a quick turnaround on.
Oh,
that.
you don't
We
think
look-
there's a quick
no,
turnaround?
no.
Okay. So is it possible, like from a financial standpoint, that we can go ahead and order them since we're already in the last quarter of the year, or Richard, or do we need to wait?
I guess if they could invoice it.
What? Okay. All right. And then the riot team equipment is a similar question, mostly because the World Cup, not because I think there's going to be riots at the World Cup, but I just want to make sure that our officers that are working down, I mean, anywhere, have all the equipment and protection they need.
Yes, and this was actually going to be another multi-jurisdictional civil unrest team is
Oh, okay.
what I'd like to call it. We assisted Brookhaven earlier this year with one of their protests that turned for the worse at the end. We were over there, we had gas masks and stuff, but we don't have the proper equipment once they start lighting off fireworks and throwing objects at us. We're still in talks with the other DeKalb County Metro Atlanta chiefs, the same ones that are on our Metro SWAT team. We do have interest within the department. I think we were going to look at between 8 and 10 officers per department. So if there is civil unrest at one of the other municipalities, we can deploy with them. So.
But do you have to, just because you might need it, do you have to wait for everyone to agree to do it? Or can we just order it for our department?
No, we can go ahead and order it. For our
Okay,
department.
can that be similar to Richard, the barriers? Okay,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right, just get it done, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, just get it done.
From an implementation perspective, obviously, you're saying we maybe have 8 officers on that?
Yeah, it'd be 8
So-
and 10. That's why we're looking at
Right.
several jurisdictions. So
Yeah, you don't want just to have 8 or 10 showing up.
no.
You want to have like 40 or
Correct.
50.
Yeah, Brookhaven already has several. Same with Doraville and Chambly.
Right, okay. Anybody have questions for Chief from this list? Thank you, Chief. Okay. I think we did parks. Capital projects. Okay. Okay. Ginger's here, actually, or she was. If anybody has questions, because again, this is for the future. If anybody has questions on this technology, she can come up, but otherwise, are we pretty clear? Does anybody have questions on technology? Okay. All right. Police. You see what they're spending. I think we're okay. I do have a question on license plate readers and security cameras. When some of these are probably getting they're probably getting a little old, maybe technology wise. I don't know. Are they?
Do
we lease them?
We lease them.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so if anything goes wrong with them, they go down, or if greater technology comes out, they'll
Okay,
they'll upgrade.
okay. I knew that actually kind of. Okay. So now we're back to Michael Smith. Thank you.
Okay.
For-
A lot of these projects are complete. I guess the only ones that really are still out there would be, we have a little bit of money from when we started Village Crossing. And the biggest one is there's money for Womack Vermac intersection improvements that was put on hold years ago, and money's still there. And
Which
then
one?
it's project 411.
Oh, yeah, that's like a zombie project too, I think.
Was that the roundabout thought?
Yeah. Well, that was the improvement, the study showed it should be a roundabout. The question is, Michael, is it is there a fix? We don't have to solve that tonight.
Yeah, my
Go ahead.
question would be, are there other safety improvements you could do at that intersection? Because people roll those stop signs all the time.
I mean, we can come back to council with some discussion on that, before we all decide what you want to do with the money.
Go ahead, John.
Well, I just remember the roundabout discussion. You got impediments. You got the large pole on one corner, you got the high school on the other, and then you got
I'm
driveways.
not
of the
trying to
two.
revamp a
I get
roundabout.
this.
I'm just saying, are there other pedestrian or not
Oh.
even other pedestrian, other safety improvements?
Absolutely. No, it needs to be looked at every once in a while just to make sure things haven't changed. So yeah, no doubt.
415 is, that we had Shamley Dunwoody at Peeler and Shamley Dunwoody at Vermac sprinkled in several different places over the years. So this is another little bit of money there.
Michael, could you show it on the screen? Because I don't have it in front of me. Please.
Let me see if I. Yeah. Maybe kind of small, but it's,
Okay. Whoops. Next page,
yeah,
okay.
in 350, I'm showing a balance of 140,000.
Which one, 350? What's the name of the project at 350?
It was, it's project 415,
Okay.
concept funding for Shamley Dunway at Peeler.
Right. I mean, the question becomes at some point, we have to make some decisions about what we're proceeding with on some of these big projects and what we're not. It can't just be because to me, we're still in the sort of, we need to leave that area alone for a little while, but then at some point we need to talk about when it's time, if it's time, and what that's gonna look like.
Well, and I will say, even if we picked it up and started working on it today, it would still probably be, but between the time it's gonna
Right.
take and then funding, it would probably still be another 5+ years before you would see any construction there.
Right.
So,
Just not sure we get the positive public input that we would need right now, so. Like if we did meetings and stuff, I think people might just resist, but
Right.
Well, what's the crash data? Let's go back to
Right.
the road safety action plan and the high injury network. Is the crash data indicative that the trend says we should do something for safety? That's the question I would ask.
I had a question on the Shamley Dunwoody Georgetown corridor. Is it done?
yes,
So that's $500,000?
Yes, no, I'm only showing 52,000 left. Now, there may be some,
Well, it was budgeted at 2.4 and it shows expenditures of 1.9.
yeah, your report may be older than mine. There may be some expenses that have hit.
Okay.
I'm showing about 52,000 left there.
I like my number better.
But yeah, everything other than the couple that I mentioned are pretty much done and can be adjusted when we do a budget amendment.
okay. Anybody have questions on this? At the end? No.
When you do the budget amendment, for me, you just got to remind me that these are general funds. So we have more flexibility in use if we want to reallocate these funds versus SPOS dollars.
Yeah, so from the standpoint, I think they still have to be capital, but it doesn't have to be transportation, or it could be any capital.
Okay, I think Parks is last. Oh, wait, you have a question? No, go ahead. No, you can ask a question. Okay. So what is the Georgetown Park play structure?
George, I'm sorry, just skip.
Sorry, I'll give you a second. Oh, right. Sorry, Catherine, we're getting there.
Jay, you're gonna have to fix me. I might use the book. Georgetown Park, this is the sculpture we're working
Oh,
on
this
with,
is
with
sculpture.
Galani.
Okay,
Yeah, it's been, it's on a project code for quite some time. It'll be done by the end of this year.
okay,
It's on the bocce side of the park.
okay.
You need your glasses? Waterford,
It's complete.
complete, Austin's complete, Spruill's complete, Dunwoody is ongoing. They're working through some utilities now on that site. This general capital repair is kind of my catch-all that I've mentioned a few times, so it's anything capital improvement that's not gonna hit my operating will come through that. Sorry, thank you, Jay. Let's see, maintenance building ongoing. Veterans Memorial, rocking and rolling on that one, that looks great. And then we've got there's a little bit that we've discussed for homecoming
Mhm.
that's in there, and then the unallocated capital, again, kind of a catch-all at this point.
Okay. Go ahead.
So the amount that's in there for homecoming, is that in addition to what was there an extra million allocated? In addition to what the mayor's recommendation was for that we discussed earlier?
I don't know.
Yes.
I
Do
mean,
you want
in
me to-
theory, yes, but it's okay, but we still can spend 5 million. It's enough.
So what I'm saying
No.
is there might be an extra.
There
Potentially
could
might be
be,
an
right,
extra
there
million
could
that-
be, but we don't need to spend it
No,
if
but
we
we-
don't need to spend it.
But we can.
But that could be a million that could go to other capital.
Yes,
or-
yes, absolutely. It can be
Yeah.
totally allocated to something different. Or, but I'm starting to feel like we put not, particularly with parks, and it's not a reflection of you, is that when we do public works bidding and we think we're gonna spend X, it often comes in under. It's amazing how often the parks, when we say we're gonna spend X, come in at X. And so I don't know if that's because they're watching our meetings more closely, because there's fewer of them. I don't know. But yes, we have that 1 million,
No,
yes,
yeah, I'm fine with leaving it there, but
Right.
just knowing, in
Right.
our mind that
right?
we
It's
may
there
be
if we
having a
need it.
discussion next
Right,
September.
and yeah, that's fine. I mean, if we go over, we go over, but it just feels a little strange to me. Go ahead.
So a point, we had talked about amending the budget when we see it on Tuesday to put in all that. So we don't want to show the 6, so how are we handling that?
I guess we'll just say 5, but I want to talk about the turf for Peachtree.
Yeah, we can add that just to call it an unallocated project and just do it in one amendment altogether.
Right, and so, yeah,
Wait, Jay,
No.
what did you just say?
We'll.
no, just, right, go ahead.
What we'd do is just take it and show it as an unallocated project.
Show,
Show that $1 million as an unallocated
okay,
project.
thank you.
Okay, I want to talk about the turf at Peachtree for a minute, because I know we've kind of zeroed it out. I feel very strongly 2 things. One is that it's awfully early to know if our process is going to work. Correct, Eric? Right. But more than anything, at my core, I believe that we have to figure out a different deal with the school system. I think it is unrealistic. How many years do we have left on this agreement? 18?
18, yes, ma'am.
That we're gonna manage this. And so I reserve the right to come back to council with a plan that shortens that agreement, even if it means we spend more upfront. Because 18 years this was not a great deal to begin with. It was, most of y'all were not here, but in hindsight, not such a good deal. Although it was nice to have the field space until we had this fields at Brook Run. But of the things I look at that are hanging out there, that I have 2 years and 2 months left, that's one that I feel very strongly that it would be nice for the people that come after me to fix this. So I talked to Eric about it some. It's on my list of things, but the idea that we're continually going to get phone calls about something we control less than half a day every day feels very problematic to me. And so I'll continue to work on that, and I'll hope I can come back to council with a plan over the next 6 months or something, where we can figure something out. And that's my 2 cents on that. Okay, anything else on this list? So I I think we ought to talk a little bit about timing and then we can go. So it sounds like that by the end of the year, Public Works will be ready to bring forward a budget adjustment. Is that correct?
Yes, I had to go take care of an issue. but
Okay.
Yes, I'll speak on his behalf on that.
Okay. And for Monday night or Tuesday night, when we talk about the budget in the first read, you're going to include the projects we talked about,
As an
the
amendment.
7
to
mil
the
as an
proposed.
amendment. Will someone here will make an amendment? Is that
Yeah.
correct? Do we also need to, like, there were just a few things that we said we were like definitely not doing, like that path. Do we need to do that at this meeting or we can do it another
I'll
time?
tell you what is right now, because of the time of publishing the agenda, we're not sure if we could get everything from tonight into there. If we can, we will put it onto
Okay.
the next agenda. If not, we will present probably a draft there so that you can at least discuss it.
Okay. And then we know that in the next few we have like 5 meetings left this year or something. Somewhere in the next meeting, we will have the CIP amendment
The
stuff,
cleanup.
the cleanup. Okay. And in that cleanup, we will have both the amount and potentially some recommendations
Yes, ma'am.
to to spend it.
Mhm.
And then we will make some decisions to spend it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Does anybody else have questions or comments? Is it clear for everybody? All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Stacy, second by Tom. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, I call the question. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have fun, Catherine. Who are you going to be talking to?
Well, apparently nobody.
Right.
No senator, no congressman, but
Right.
a bunch of staffers.
A bunch of staff. Well, enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hotel bed.